Hey guys, this is DFS Chan. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. Today is December 25th, Christmas. Tomorrow is also known as the Boxing Day, the day after Christmas in the UK, and it is the single biggest soccer day in the UK and just other places in Europe. Um, but as you can see on the screen here, um, three of the games already got canceled for tomorrow morning, including the two 7:30 games, the early games in the morning, and then one 10 o'clock game that was between Burnley and Everton that got postponed. So after all of that, looks like we're going to have a 4-game slate that kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then we're going to have 2 games in the afternoon at 12:30 and then 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, so let's dive in and I'll kind of just share what my thoughts are on the matchup and on the players, some core plays, and then as to what the GPP possible plays would be. So first, let's dive into the Manchester City versus Leicester City. As you can see, Manchester City is a huge favorite at home at minus 588. Both teams to score. It is not likely. It says Manchester City is probably going to be the only team that will score. So that's what the odds indicate. And then match goals over 2.5 goals total. So there will be plenty of goals, and people are expecting that Manchester City will dominate the possession, and which I think so too. And Leicester City has been playing a little better as of late. So I think they make up for an interesting GPP play, but I don't think they're going to score more than 2 goals. I don't see a world where they're going to score 2-3 goals. So that's what I have based on the matchup. So yeah, let's dive into Manchester City players. It all starts with KDB. Kevin De Bruyne. I think he is underpriced in my opinion on DraftKings, but he also takes a lot of the set pieces. He is a good play in the open play, so I like him a lot tomorrow. And then obviously with other Man City pieces, it's really like a Russian roulette where you just have to get the players right who's going to score. So, but for me, if this lineup is what Man City puts out, I like De Bruyne, and then I like Mahrez, and then I like Sterling. Sterling has been in really good form as of late still. So those are the 3 players that I would prefer. But for GPP, obviously Gabriel Jesus, if he starts up as a striker like this, and then Bernardo Silva, I think he will be a longer GPP shot, but I have seen where he gets on the end of like a shot, goal or assist here and there. So there's a good chance. And then Cancelo, interestingly, makes up for a very interesting high floor plays as well, because I mean he's been really amazing this season. He has a very high floor of shots, but also chances created and crosses for a fullback. So I actually think, at least as of recent, he was one of the top 3 shot takers on that team. And that's surprising because he plays on the defense side. So, but Cancelo is definitely one of the core plays that I will consider, along with those 3 plays I was telling you about: De Bruyne, Mahrez, and Sterling. And then Zinchenko is also on the other side of the fullback. If he starts, I like him as a GPP play as well. And their opponent, Leicester City, all starts with Madison now, James Madison. James Madison has been playing pretty well as of late, and they have been kind of notching up his responsibility for that team, and he's been taking more set pieces, and especially we were all wondering what's going to happen to his responsibilities when Yuri Tielemans came back and started, but Madison kind of still has still has set piece duties and everything. So, and his production level has not gone down, that significantly, even after Tielemans came back. So, Madison, Tielemans, those are probably my two high floor guys that I'm looking at. And then for GPP purposes, Albrighton, if he ends up starting here, and then Luke Thomas, if he ends up starting here, those are probably the top two GPP plays along with Daka. And Daka will be an interesting play because I just think Man City's gonna dominate the possession. So if you think if you're gonna play Daka, that means you're hoping for a goal. I mean, literally, he probably has less than 5 points of a floor. So you're just hoping that he scores. And so I don't know if that's gonna happen, but if it happens, it will probably be Daka or Madison or Tielemans. And then some other GPP plays would be Albrighton and Thomas. I would not play any of the center backs for Leicester City tomorrow. Okay, the next matchup would be Norwich City versus Arsenal. Arsenal is a favorite. Excuse me, my nose is really stuffy. But Arsenal is a favorite, but they're on the road. They're minus 278 on the road. Arsenal has been kind of up and down, so we'll see where that takes us. But they're dealing with some injury issues here for Arsenal. I know at least Tamayasu, he was starting as a fullback, and then Lokonja in the midfield, he has been struggling with the injury struggles, and then I know that some of these guys were banged up last game, but looks like they're still going to end up starting. So if this lineup is what they put out, obviously I love Saka. Norwich City gives up a lot of peripheral points, meaning like crosses and chances created in the open play. So Saka would probably be my first option to go to. And then Gabriel Martinelli, he's been taking a lot of set pieces as of late. I know he's been in good form. So obviously Saka and Martinelli would be the top two high floor guys. And then Odegaard is another play that I am interested in, depending on kind of lineup they put out. So as of here, like Odegaard would have a lot of responsibilities to make play chances and chance creating opportunities that he will have, just given how the formation lines up. So I'll definitely be interested in those three players: Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli. And then fullbacks. I mean, like I said, if Tomiyasu, he's still injured. I don't think he's going to start, but if he does, him and Tierney are both in play for GPP purposes. Norwich City, their opponent, I do not expect them to dominate possession. But if you think they're going to score a goal or two, Pookie is definitely going to be at the end of at least one of those goals, I think. Pookie is probably one of their best players for Norwich City. But in terms of the high floor guys for Norwich City, Billy Gilmore, he takes some set pieces. And then Max Aarons and Brandon Williams, their fullbacks, have somewhat of a floor there. But, I'm not too interested in Norwich City guys. I'm probably going to excuse me. I'm probably going to play maybe Billy Gilmore. Yeah, so for Norwich City, I think I'm only interested in Billy Gilmore and then Placheta for kind of somewhat high floor guys. And then for GPP purposes, like I said, Cantwell and Pookie are probably the top two GPP guys that I'm interested in. And let's see what the both teams to score odds are. No, yeah, so they think Arsenal will dominate, and then over 2.5 goals too. So I mean, so this is expected to be an open game where there will be a lot of goals. So So actually would not be a bad idea to play Lacazette here, given that he's going to play the striker position, but I think he's only a GPP play. I think for cash play, Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli, like I said, are the three high floor guys that I'm interested in. And for Norwich City, Billy Gilmore and then Placheta are probably the only two that I'm interested in. Next matchup of the slate is Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. Tottenham, both teams to score, yes. To over 2.5 goals too. So tomorrow, I mean, the slate's gonna be filled with a lot of high scoring games. So maybe we do need to chase some goals for tournaments. But I'll go over the high floor guys and again, and then I'll kind of go over the GPP plays as well. Tottenham, slight favorite at home, minus 154. Obviously, it starts with Heung-min Son. Son has been probably, I mean, their best player, but also like, I mean, his production usage, his usage rate for that team is skyrocket. Like, he does everything for them: corner kicks, free kicks, open play, chances created. So all starts with him. As the projected goals for the game is over 2.5 as well. I mean, I think his ownership will be very high, but I think he's gonna be a good play as well. And then Harry Kane, obviously his partner on that team, will likely score if they score. I think Son and Kane are obviously the top two plays for that team, and then Lucas Moura would be a good GPP play as well. And then Reguilon, and then Emerson Royal are the two somewhat decent floor guys, fullbacks that will cross the ball quite a bit. So really, these five players, I mean, Reguilon, Son, Kane, Mora, and then Emerson Royal, I mean, are the only guys that I'm interested in for Tottenham. But I think this is going to be a pretty even matchup. Crystal Palace has been up and down too, but Crystal Palace also has a potential to win this game. When they play well, I mean, they play really well. So it's not like Tottenham is the high possession domination team, like Man City and then even Arsenal. I mean, Tottenham is not even on the Arsenal level where they like to hold the ball, as much. So Crystal Palace will have a decent amount of opportunities, I think. And then for Crystal Palace, it all starts with Conor Gallagher. He's the engine for that team. He crossed the ball a lot. He creates a lot of chances. So he's the first player that I would start with. And then after that, it'll be Zaha, and then be AU, and then Eduard probably are the the next three guys that I'm interested in. These top three offense players here. But Gallagher's set piece responsibility can take a hit if Will Hughes starts like this. Will Hughes sometimes takes some set pieces as well. So that would obviously lower Gallagher's usage a little bit if Will Hughes ends up starting. So we'll see there. And then, but that also kind of lowers Gallagher's ownership as well if that happens. I think people have been noticing that Will Hughes or even Luka Milivanovic have been, either one of them will most likely start and then kind of takes away Gallagher's production there. But Gallagher is still a good play, I think. If they score, though, he'll probably be on the end of a goal or assist. AU and Zaha have also been in good form too, so I would not be surprised if they are on the score sheet as well. West Ham versus Southampton is the last matchup of the slate. Both teams to score, yes, and then match goals over 2.5 again. Wow. And then West Ham is the slight favorite at home at minus 120. So all four games over 2.5 goals projected. So that's great. So that means there are going to be a lot of goals, and you probably need to have some players that score goals in order for you to probably place tomorrow. So more than anything, I think the goal scoring odds for each player will come into play that I'll analyze along with some other, factors that I always look at, how each player lines up in the formation, and then the substitution risk, and then likelihood that, each team will play more defensively or offensively. So I'll kind of go into that, when I look at the status and overall, slate after this matchup analysis. So West Ham United minus 120 at home. It all starts with Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen, set pieces, likes to cross the ball somewhat. Not as, much as like the other key players that we talked about previously, but Jared Bowen for West Ham. And then everybody else, in my opinion, is a GPP play. I think like Pablo Fornals, Lanzini. I think Mikel Antonio has somewhat of a floor because he takes a lot of shots. So those are probably the top 3 GPP plays that I'm interested in. Declan Rice, Thomas Suchek. They're both decent. Suchek is better header, but Rice likes to play better. I think his open play potential is greater than Suchek's, but they are both playing in the defensive central midfielder position. So we'll see what happens there. But obviously, any of them is a kind of good crapshoot GPP play because sometimes they get involved on the offensive side of the attack, and sometimes they get an assist or a goal. So I think that will be a sneaky GPP play. And then Ben Johnson, and then Kufal. I think they're both really good plays. The fullbacks tomorrow against Southampton. Speaking of Southampton, Southampton always starts with James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse, has a monopoly and everything. His usage rate for Southampton is really good, really high. So it all starts with him. I think his ownership accordingly will be very high. But I think he'll be a good play against the West Ham. West Ham likes to play very open, very loose. So I think that favors Ward-Prowse's production level. Except for him, other than James Ward-Prowse, I think everybody else is really strictly GPP plays. Maybe Livramento has some floor. And then Walker Peters has been playing a little better in terms of like crossing the ball, but I just still do not trust them to have a high floor or anything like that. So James Ward-Prowse and Livramento maybe are the 2 high floor guys, and then everybody else is a GPP play in my opinion. Broha and then Tella have been playing really well for that team. So I think, like I said, this game it could be an open one where there could be a lot of points to go around. I think playing Southampton strikers is a good GPP play and kind of approach that you can take to be a little different from playing like Manchester City or Arsenal guys that most people will focus on. So I think that would be an interesting GPP move. But like I said, it starts with JWP and Livramento, and then the strikers for Southampton, and then Elyounoussi and then Nathan Redmond are probably the next level GPP plays that I'll be interested in. I'll be looking at. But I like these Southampton pieces tomorrow, and then West Ham pieces as well. But I don't trust Fornals or Lanzini to have any of the kind of decent floors. I think I trust Bowen obviously, but Antonio probably the next player for West Ham that I would be interested in. So overall, like I said, it's a 4-game slate. Manchester City, the biggest favorite at home, and then Arsenal, the second biggest favorite at -278, but on the road. And they've been struggling a little bit, but they're playing against Norwich City, who has been really bad. And then Tottenham at home -154, West Ham at -120. I think that's a toss-up match between them and Southampton. But overall, like I said, I think tomorrow there will be a lot of goals. So I think you kind of have to chase some goal scorers, maybe playing strikers or cheap strikers on any of the teams that ends up starting. So we'll see what happens there. But I would definitely focus on um, the forwards tomorrow because like I said, the odds indicate that there will be a lot of goals, but also there's not a good number of like defenders, high floor defenders that we usually see, like those Liverpool fullbacks or Chelsea fullbacks or anything like that. So I would not focus on high price defenders, but rather I would focus on the high price forwards and then the midfielders and then the defenders. So really, I mean, I think tomorrow would be one of the rare slates where you're not focused on playing one of the high floor defenders. Rather, I think you're gonna be chasing some goals with maybe high priced forwards or midfielders, and then maybe one mid price forwards and midfielders, and then kind of play the lower end defenders, and then maybe even a fullback or center back, minimum price center back for like a favorite team. That could be a good punt play tomorrow, I think, just given the lack of depth at high floor defensive players tomorrow on the slate. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Reach out to me on Discord or on Twitter. But tomorrow, when the lineups come out, it gets confirmed at 9 a.m. Eastern time, I will share my thoughts, and then whether that gives any bumps or downgrades on some of the players that we just talked about. So hopefully you guys had a Merry Christmas and have a good one. Bye.